Well, this pretty blue plant that you see blooming in our medicinal herb garden doesn't have a very pretty common name. It's actually called Viper's Bugloss. And you may wonder, how in the world did it come up with a name like that? And it starts out, there's kind of two parts to it. The seeds that this plant puts on in the fall actually are in the shape, they look kind of like a viper's head. And in old folk remedies, they used to think that the shape of some part of the plant kind of indicated what the plant was used for, and they used to think that it was a cure for snake bite. Now, the bugloss part of the plant actually is Greek for ox tongue, and if you look at the leaves down here, they're in the shape of an ox tongue. Now, not that I've ever seen an ox tongue up close, but that's where they say they got the second part of this name. Now, the Latin name for this plant is actually Echium vulgare, and it's been used in folk remedies for inflammation and also for fevers. It's a really pretty addition to our medicinal herb garden. Although it's not used a lot medicinally now, it is very nice, and I think it's just a nice plant to have in a perennial garden. Now, the plant is actually probably not a perennial. It's an annual to a biennial, and for the most part it tends to bloom as an annual. Now, you can see right back here where I was showing you these rosette leaves. These may be not going to bloom this year. We started these early in the greenhouse, and then we had some cooler temperatures, so these probably think that they've already been through that cool season and they've gone ahead and bloomed. Now, the plant is very bristly, and it's actually related to borage. And you can remember last year we had borage in here, and I clipped one. Now it's kind of wilted, but you know, it has that bristly stem and leaves and the nice blue flowers here. And this also has very bristly stems on it. It likes to be planted in kind of poorer soil, and it'll naturalize in areas that have been disturbed but are well drained. And we have it here in our herb garden, so it's up and well drained, and it's open area. It gets full sun, and it does very well that way. The plant will get anywhere from 1 to 3 feet tall. Ours is topping out at about 2 feet, and it should bloom for us pretty much all summer. Now, as we look at the blooms here, they're actually very pretty. They kind of come in shades of violet. We actually have some darker violet here, and then almost blue over here, and you can see the pink shades too, and sometimes it comes in shades of white. And since we had a seedling mix, we've got a kind of a nice variation, but it lends a cool kind of aura to our medicinal herb garden. So we've actually enjoyed putting this plant in the garden. Now, in some areas of the eastern United States, it can be kind of invasive. It goes to seed, so you might want to deadhead this before it starts to set seed in the fall. But I would recommend it as a pretty addition to a medicinal herb garden.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.